I noticed a change in his demeanor, but I was too busy interviewing my witnesses, taking testimony. Thereafter, what occurred was that it's time for him to get back on the stand. He refused. He said, I don't want to testify. I don't want to get back on the stand. So at that time, he said, I don't feel good. I said, well, good. Well, then let's get a continuance. Do you want a doctor? What's wrong with you? He said, nothing. I don't want a doctor. He said, I just don't feel good. I said, well, you want a continuance? So I went into judges' chambers to explain to the judge and with the DA what was going on. So that conference was less than 5 minutes. Thereafter, we came out and he just said, Pacheco, I'll testify.
David Paradiso was sitting on the witness stand, and his face and the look of him, he was completely a different color. He just didn't look like the same person. And when the prosecuting attorney started to interview him, it was like the questions that his response to the questions was totally out of left field, 180-degree left field. Like, he started making sexual connotations about the individual, the girl he had murdered, and he also started making statements that she deserved to die, and then the courtroom became so disrupted.
Thereafter, I told the judge, I think we have to have a hearing out of the presence of the jury. So the judge then had the bailiff, Willis, to go out and secure a room for the jury. Willis came back. Paradiso was still sitting in his chair and found the room for the jury. So when the jury stood up, he stood up. And there was a deputy standing between the jury box and the witness. Nobody standing between the witness, Mr. Paradiso, and the judge. The officer told him, sit down. So Paradiso seemed like confused. I don't know if it was intentional or not. And he put his hands in his pocket, and then he began to sit down, and he stood up again. The officer said, sit down. And I yelled across the courtroom and says, hey, Dave, sit down. Now, at that time, he backed up against the wall and pulled out an object from his right pocket. And it was long, and I thought maybe it was a pen similar to this, with the pointed end. And just about that time, he looked at the jury, then he looked at the bailiff, and then he went for the judge. And at that time, then he began twisting a knife and stabbing motion and twisting the knife against the judge's neck. So, and then at that time is when I came around the bench, and I walked up to I ran up to the judge's bench, and the judge was on her back, looking up in the ceiling, and he was grinding, making a grinding motion at the same location as the victim in the case, the wound. At which time, I heard two shots behind me, but I'm still going forward, got up to the judge's bench, and then that's when the officer reached over me, reached around me somehow, and I saw the gun pressed into the Paradiso's chest, and it was discharged, shot.
Officer Bradley had the weapon, and I saw David Paradiso fall off the judge. But as far as I'm concerned, Officer Bradley is my hero, because Judge Fox her life was in danger. It really was.
You know, I feel sorry that it happened, but the officer was appropriate in what he did. I was there, I saw it, I saw the motion, and I think the officer, in fact, saved the judge's life.